Hello, hello. Do you want to be equals or do you want to be you? I just watched the movie Equals, which is a sci-fi movie, and it's another one of those movies where they're playing with controlling society. And in this one, they've taken away the one element that makes us unique as humans, which is our ability to feel. And they actually even named it, SOS, and you caught the bug if you start to have feelings. And then you go through these stages, and they started to even say, what stage are you on? Then you're going to go this way, and then you're going to go this way. And here I am studying all of these diseases for my book, and we study the progression of diseases. And it's funny though, watching the movie, and they're telling you, this is what's going to happen in the future, as if you're guaranteed that once you catch the bug, you're only going to get worse. You can't find a way to naturally get better. They did mention an option of getting better in the movie, but for the most part, they made it seem like you're naturally going to progress, and here's the steps that you follow. What's very interesting about that is one of the people who I interviewed for my book, Healing Happens, Sam Shelley, he mentioned his experience of getting over this concept that was his mind was stuck in. What happened was he had MS, bipolar, and even suicidal tendencies for much of his life. When he started to meditate, his mind started to get quieter. And that's when he could see a little bit more of a vision of what were all the thoughts that he thought about the disease. What did all the symptoms needed to look like? What were the experiences like? And it was all based on what we've said in the past about disease. So he was naturally following suit with whatever we say in our cultural beliefs about disease. And so then he decided, well, I'm just going to change that. I'm going to change that whole thought process. I'm going to change what disease needs to go to. And that's part of what helped him just turn everything around. He's been free of all those symptoms and free of medication now for a few years. It's funny when we watch all these movies, the sci-fis and the witches and the aliens and playing with time and magic, you kind of wonder if there's even some truth to that the fact that we could create these things. And then through some of the spiritual experiences that I've had or different communities, people truly believe that those possibilities exist. We think they're just fake in a movie. But as I was watching this movie Equals and seeing that breakdown of those sense of delusions, I was starting to think about what are all the delusions that we have in our life. The guru that I have studied with, Paramahansa Yogananda, he says that we're all under some form of hypnotism. And sometimes there's subtle things that I think about, like cultures that I've been to, where they always have like a tortilla with the meal, or like in Mexico or in India, a roti with the meal, or rice. What is a meal without that? I mean, you just don't eat without that. There's no concept of possibly having that. So when I come in and I say that I'm allergic to gluten, some people get very confused. How could you possibly shift your meal? A meal always constitutes that. And the mind can get very set on that. So it's fascinating when we travel and we start to see where have we been stuck by being in these other environments where they don't have that same concept as we do. Now, I haven't had TV for a long time, and I have one in the home that I'm staying in because it's also a guest rental. So I've watched TV a couple times, and there's this commercial, and they're like, protein, 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 protein. I wanted to actually curl my hair and shake it around saying the protein, protein, protein thing, because I do believe that that's one of the delusions of our culture. First of all, it's the Western culture that has started to be so concerned with protein. It's not other cultures. They are more recently getting concerned with that, partially because of our influence back in that direction. The strongest form, like the highest percentage of protein in any food, is actually in the dark leafy greens like kale and spinach. But the meat industry and the milk industry funded research to talk about how we need protein and how important it is to get it from those products. And that's part of why our culture, the Western culture, is having so much of that protein. Now, another thing with calcium, so we drink milk because we think we need the calcium. We have a lot of people in America who have osteoporosis. Now, if you look at some of the Asian cultures that don't normally drink milk, they also don't have barely any incidences of osteoporosis. That might be shifting more recently because a lot of these Eastern cultures have started to drink more milk, and then they're starting to see the levels of osteoporosis rise. Kind of fascinating how that works and how we have these ideas, and when we start to set numbers down and measure the body and the science, we're going through the mind, and the mind only has a certain amount of capacity. We need to be careful about working in just the mind. But overall, the main idea that I wanted to bring out to you is just to look at your life and say, where is there a pattern that you can break? And simple ways to help conjure this is literally, if you normally drive in the right lane, drive in the left lane. If you normally brush your teeth before you floss, then floss before you brush your teeth. Maybe there's some reason why you want to do one before the other that the dentists have said, so you could follow that, but that's just an example of simple ways that we could shift our life. So we start to shift the patterning in our bodies of how we're set up, and we start to look at life differently. One of my favorite things of an idea of how to help you look at life differently, this was from Timothy Ferriss in the book The 4-Hour Workweek. In the middle of the day or in a busy street during lunch rush hour, just lay down flat on the ground and look up for 10 seconds and then get up and continue on your way. It's not socially acceptable in most cultures to just lay on the ground in a public space. And yeah, a lot of us don't want to get dirty, so we might not want to do that. But other than that, that's just a social convention. Why do we need to be caught in these? And the reason why I'm going to say this as well, why I'm bringing this up, not so we change these little things. It's because there are much bigger things that so many of us are so caught in. And I know, I probably am always discovering them, right? So it's not like I'm going to say that I'm free of them too, but I'm fascinated when I find them and feel glorious when I let go of these things and definitions of how life doesn't have to be. The other reason why I'm going to say this is because one of the most important reasons why people survive diseases when they're even considered terminal is because they have a reason to live. They have their dharma, they have their mission, their goal, their purpose, something they want to live for that's driving them forward. And some of us have a more unique reason to live than what might be commonly known, what might be commonly accepted. But because it's not commonly accepted, our mind isn't open to that idea. And we sometimes miss the entire point of our lives. And that's where we can get into disease. And that's where we miss the opportunity of what we can get out of living in this world. So there's a much deeper reason why I want to say, what hypnotism do you live in? Where do you make yourself equal in thought to other people versus being in your own unique thought and your own unique blueprint? I leave you with that thought. Thank you so much for tuning in. Play with this for a day or a week, and then please report back. What shifts did you notice? What starts to open up? What new ideas come forward for you? Thank you. Bye-bye.